we're being joined by one of MMA's greatest legends, Frank Shamrock. Frank, what's going on, brother? You're on Rebellion Radio with Mitch Ciccarelli and Brian Levick. How's it going, man?
It's great, man. What's happening, guys?
What's going on, Frank? Jumping around, throwing rocks at birds. Just a typical Sunday morning.
I love it. Well, I just went to school and a cold Stella, so I'm all ready to chat.
Hell yeah. I actually wanted to ask you about the boxing fight from last night. I'm not sure if you watched it or not between Manny Pacquiao and Tim Bradley, but you probably heard about the controversy going on, with Tim Bradley taking the decision. A lot of people are visibly upset about the result, and the sport of boxing in general, they're pretty pissed at it. I've been seeing a lot of anti-boxing tweets on Twitter and a lot of pro-MMA tweets from a couple of celebrities, such as Lil Jon, of all people, tweeting about MMA and boxing. What do you make of all this, and what is your thoughts on boxing right now?
Well, boxing is just in a state of a bit of confusion, I think. It had a lot of years where people were just, double dipping in the pot. Promoters and producers, I think, were just taking advantage of the boxing model and system, and it's just gotten so confusing now. People don't know what to expect. They're unhappy. They're not satisfied, and I don't even watch too much of it anymore because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think that's what people are feeling and their frustration. The good thing with MMA is you get a conclusion every time. They go in, they fight. Someone wins, someone loses. Easy to figure out, and there's none of this controversy or confusion.
Yeah, exactly. And you're definitely not going to be seeing, a fighter in MMA, stalling before the fight on a treadmill, stretching their calves while, everyone's waiting for them to step in the ring and fight like we saw last night with Pacquiao. But next thing I want to ask, throughout your entire career, you've always been, a fighter that people either, loved or hated, but even if they dislike you, they have to be completely ignorant to deny you as one of the best, in the sport's history and a guy that really paved the way for fighters today. Everyone kind of knows that you and UFC President Dana White don't exactly kind of see eye to eye, but, when it comes to Dana, I don't think that's really a good enough reason to keep you out of the UFC Hall of Fame. I mean, he might not like you, but for that to be the only reason why you're not in the Hall of Fame right now, I mean, that's pretty absurd in my opinion. I'm sure you probably feel the same way. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't think the Hall of Fame has any credibility unless I'm in it. I was the first champion ever and set 2 world records and have been pioneering for this sport since before there was weight classes and gloves. So it kind of looks to me like the whole Hall of Fame is kind of a fun flam, and it's, up to Dana's own jock as to who decide to go in, and unfortunately, that does not define a real sport. A real sport is completely different. So
we actually have we have a caller on the line that just got me on Twitter here. Wants to ask you a quick question. I believe it's Jordan Acevedo. Jordan, what's going on, brother? You're on the line right now. Mitch Ciccarelli, Brian Levick, and the legend Frank Shamrock.
Hey, thank you. Hi, Frank Shamrock. I'm a big fan. I know you're a pioneer of the sport, and I have a lot of respect for you. I was having a conversation today on Facebook with some guy that he was saying that you threw the fight with Kong Lee, like they told you not to take him down because he was, I thought it was a bunch of crap because he was trying to say that UFC MMA was as corrupted as boxing, which I thought was very ignorant. And I just want to know, what do you have to say about that, and what do you think?
Well, it's a very ignorant view. Anybody who's been in the cage understands what happens. But in the fight with Kung Lee, yeah, I was being a bit ignorant because I wanted to stand up and fight with a stand-up fighter. That was my decision. That was all me. That was my ego, my desire to sell our show to, CBS, and, desire to move the sport along. It had nothing to do with throwing a fight. It was my own decision. I wanted to test myself, and I came up a wing short on it, sadly. But that's the game. This game isn't corrupt when you get in the cage. This game is just not developed outside the cage.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. That's exactly what I told him. You went in there to give him a brawl, and sadly he fell short. And it was a very entertaining fight. And I know for sure you did not throw that fight. I thought that was a very ignorant comment. So.
Yeah,
I was appalled.
Probably someone that's never been in a cage before. So.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, hey Jordan, we appreciate you calling in, brother, and definitely spread the word to all your friends out there. Rebellion Radio is live right now. We're making records. We're dominating the world. We're spanking hoes. you let them know, brother. And real quick, if you want to, what's your Twitter again, man? Plug your Twitter real quick for all the listeners
my
out there.
My Twitter is @Hackcell, HACKCELL.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, you have a great night, and thanks for calling in.
All right, you too. Good night. Bye.
All right, bye.
Frank, when I talked to you previously, you had told me a story. I'm not remembering if I'm not too sure if it was Howard Herman that you were talking about. I asked you to tell me some interesting stories from back in the day before the sport became was much mainstream as it is now. But when it was still in its dark days, and you had mentioned somebody during one of the tournaments. I think it might have been Howard Herman walking to the back. To prepare for another fight and got hit with the boom or something?
No, it was the light. It was the rotating, entertainment light. Hit him right in the temple, knocked him completely unconscious, and he did a complete, back layout flat on the ramp, and they all picked him up and carried him in the back, put him on the table, and woke him up, and he went back out there in about 17 minutes and fought in the main event.
Wow.
And I was sitting there as a young man going, I'm never doing this. These guys are crazy.
One of your best fights, and one of the best fights ever in mixed martial arts was your war with Tito Ortiz, and sadly we'll never get to see the rematch. I know there was talk about it, and it would have been great to see you two guys go at it again. Tito's coming up on his last fight next month, where he takes on Forrest Griffin for the third time. How do you think he'll be remembered in the sport?
Tito? Well, I think Tito. I think he'll be remembered as a pivotal guy. He came around at a very important time. When Super had just bought the company, and I had stepped aside, and they really put it on his back. He did a lot for the UFC and the brand, and I think that generation of people are always going to remember him. Now, how they remember him is completely different because, he's got a spicy attitude. His fighting has gone downhill a bit, but he doesn't seem to think it or notice it. So there's a lot of different opinions. I personally like him. I've always liked the kid. He's always been respectful and honest. When we fought, we had a war, and then the first thing he did was come out and train with me. And that's a sign of a martial art. Yeah.
Frank, I want to touch on a subject that's a little contentious for you, and that's with your brother Ken. Can you just give us a little bit of insight into where the relationship went sour, and what your thoughts are on where he is at today, as far as his life?
Well, I hope he's happy. I don't really know what he's up to. We're all that close, except for when it came to training and fighting. He was my first teacher, my first mentor, and I give him all the respect in the world. He's the one that gave me my love for martial arts and my ability to participate in it. But when it came for me, to have my shot at fighting, Ken didn't think I could do it, and Ken didn't believe in me. And I had to break away from him to go do that. And it was probably the best thing I ever did because I'm the type of guy, if you tell me I can't do it, I got to go do it. So I should probably thank him for making me go do it. But, we never got back together after that. We went from being family and very close to, two brands and champions and people standing apart from each other.
Now, I want to go back and briefly touch on Strikeforce. They've had some momentum in the past, and then it seemed to die down a little bit. The past card had a great fight with Melendez and Josh Thompson, and you had said something specifically during the fight about Melendez having everything to lose because if he beats Thompson, he was supposed to beat him. If he loses, he wasn't supposed to lose to him. Being right there and cage side, who do you believe won that fight?
I think Gilbert Melendez won the fight. If you do the point game, because that's now what the game's about. But Josh Thompson won the crowd. He won the moment. I think Josh Thompson won the war on that one. But I think Gilbert Melendez won the fight.
And how do you feel about Strikeforce's future? Do you feel that they're going to be around much longer, or is this just dying a slow death here?
I think it's uncertain. The UFC is very determined to get their brand across and is on that mission. But they see value in this asset, and it has a great television contract, and they're working out the relationship with Showtime. So, I just think it's yet to be determined. I don't think they know what they're going to do with it. So I
like the women's division. They especially
awesome. We got great. The beauty of Strikeforce is it was built on smaller guys that get up and go. Gilbert Melendez, Josh Thompson. Me. It's like, when you go to Strikeforce match, what you're going to get every single time. You don't have to worry about it. That was one of the things that we could always fall back with on our brand, and it made it very successful. That's one of the reasons why the UFC snatched us up. That, and we had awesome heavyweights, and we had all the heavyweights.
Yeah.
So it became a necessity for them. So who knows where we'll end up? Hopefully I'll still have a job with Strikeforce and Showtime. But I'm good. But, guys, I hate to do it, but I got to let you go. I have guests over right now, and I've got to sit down for a little dinner with them and let you guys go back to smacking hoes and pimping MMA.
Hell yeah, brother. You know how we do it.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, though, and let me know next time you want me to come on and hang out.
We're so grateful for having you on. If there's anything you want to promote real quick, website, your Twitter, just, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, whatever. I'm at Frank Shamrock everywhere. So if you want to follow me, check it out. And if you don't worry about it. I'll be at the pool or I'll be hiking.
All right, enjoy your dinner, guests.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, have a good night.
Have a good one, Frank.